Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I and my buddy Joe English are sending our regards. Today we would like to discuss some ACT questions with you, the English section of the ACT. So without further ado, let's share the PowerPoint. Okay, so let's look at the first question. A lot of people hate to ride the New York City subways, but I love them because I like to get places fast. At this point, the writer wants to provide one reason why she likes to ride the subways. Which choice is most relevant to the information provided? If we continue reading, she says, um, all right, a musician balancing a cello case, two Buddhist monks in saffron robes, a group of stockbrokers in crest charcoal, etc., etc. So, what she means to say that these are uh, completely unrelated things, like people from this walk of life, people from other walk of life, and so on. So, one reason that goes with that what is being said in the paragraph would be I never know what I will see there. That is B. Not I like to go places fast, because he's not talking about being fast or anything in that paragraph. He says, the question says, one reason to be relevant with the information in that paragraph. So in that paragraph, she's just saying that I get on the underground or the subway and I never know whom I'm going to see. Maybe monks from like Buddhist monks, people who work in the stock exchange with their charcoal gray suits, maybe musicians balancing their cello, etc. Okay. Moving on to the second question. Crest charcoal gray suits get on Wall Street. So is this a no change or charcoal gray suits, comma, or charcoal, comma, gray suits? What is the best choice here? The best choice is no change. Since it makes sense without any punctuation, then we don't need to bother and add some punctuation. So if we read a group of stock brokers in crisp charcoal gray suits get on at Wall Street. So it makes sense. We don't have to change anything here. Okay. Also, we can't put a comma between charcoal and gray because we only put a comma if we could add and between the two adjectives. Okay, if we could add and, then we could add a comma. Okay, yeah. Also, we don't put commas between gray and suits, like we don't separate the adjective and the noun using commas. So the best choice is F, which is no change. Now moving on to number three, a teenager who's holding a shoebox containing a kitten as tiny as blah 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 in this. Yeah, a teenager who is holding. That's just instead of using the possessive whose, we should use who is, and the short of it or the contraction whose in D. So D is the best choice in that case. Who's holding? Because holding is a verb with ing. It comes after verb to be is. And then moving to four, a kitten as tiny as a ginger snap smiles, even if a line of girls in frilly white communion dresses file up. What is the best choice? No change, as, whereas. So even if and whereas, this shows contradiction between two things. We don't have any contradiction here. So the best choice would be G, as. So he's saying that this boy or teenage boy, is holding a shoebox containing a kitten or whatever as a line of girls file by. Okay, so as meaning while or something. So as is the best choice here. Moving on to number 5, it reads, um, about 3.5 million people a day ride the subways. I think maybe I might possibly have met them all. So we have two sentences here. About 3.5 million people a day ride the subways. Then we can continue putting a comma and. Remember, if we want to join two sentences with a comma, we should accompany the comma with one of the fanboys, like for, and, or, but, etc. So the best choice here is using this one, B, subways and. Because he says, I think maybe I might have met them all. So he's talking about the 3.5 million people who ride the underground in New York, and another sentence that he might have met them all. We can join the two IC or two independent clauses just with a comma. We need either a full stop or a semicolon. Since we don't have this here, but instead we have a comma and one of the fanboys. A comma and one of the fanboys can actually separate two ICs or two independent clauses. So the best answer is B, 5B. Moving on to number 6. I think maybe I might possibly have met them all. No change. Perhaps I have. I have possibly. I have. So remember, this is one easy question. We have four choices, including the no change containing the I have, whether it's contracted or in full form, like I might possibly have. So the meaning is more or less the same. And if we choose I have, which is the short of I have met them all. That makes perfect sense. Because this makes perfect sense, and this is the shortest possible answer and in contracted form as well, then it will be the best answer. So the best answer is J. We would say, I have met them all. Perfect, no problem. So we don't go for longer choices. Wordiness is not really appreciated on the ACT. So if you have more than one choice, and or even the four choices, meaning more or less the same thing, but one is the shortest, then choose or go for the shortest, if it makes sense. All right, so moving on to question number 7. Sorry. Um, Sometimes the Salvation Army, volunteer boards, the subway train with sandwiches, etc., etc. And then he says, I have seen many people put on their hands. The speaker also raises money. The speaker also raises money. So um, no change would be a good answer here because we don't have any conclusion or in other words or the therefore there's no reason to show here if we see sometimes the Salvation Army volunteer boards blah 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 and then he says go to the needy, put your pride to the side, the volunteer shouts, you know, I have seen many people put out their hands. The speaker also raises money. Okay, also raises money. So this, the speaker raises money, is not a result or for what has been said in the paragraph. So therefore, we don't use therefore, we don't use in conclusion, we just use the definite article as it is. So 7A is the best choice here. Moving on to number 8. Um, then he says it's impossible to predict. So this is a question about contractions and possessive form or verb to be. When he says it's impossible to predict, he means it is impossible to predict. It doesn't mean it's, which is possessive. So the best choice here is G, HG, it is. All right, moving on to number 9. Number 9C says people will dig into their buckets or if they were to open their purses. Okay. All right. So this is kind of parallelism. He is saying if we read a little bit before, it is impossible to predict, and then we'll dig into their pockets or open their purses. So to predict, and then dig, and then open their purses. So he is using parallelism, um, a verb, and then a verb, and then a verb. Predict, dig, open. Okay? So we shouldn't say if they were to open, but or open. Dig or open, where will dig into their buckets or open their purses. This or this. So if we connect using and or, then we have parallel structures or what they call parallelism. Therefore, C is the best answer. Also remember, the word open is repeated in all four choices, and this is something common on the ACT. If you have four choices containing the same word, go for the shortest one or the shortest answer if the meaning is the same and if the structure makes sense. Okay, so we should use open, which is the shortest answer here. Moving on to another question, number 10. Okay, last week, some fellow passengers and I watched an elderly man with a portable chess board playing chess against himself. Okay, which of the following alternative to the underlined portion would not be acceptable? Okay, so they have seen a man playing chess with himself. So, who played chess is an acceptable answer. As he played chess is an acceptable answer. Who was playing chess also is an acceptable answer. So, if we use played only in that scenario, would be the least acceptable answer. Okay. Okay. So H here would be the best answer. H would be the best answer. All right. I sat across the aisle with a woman who was composing music. So um, it has to do with the collocation to sit across from, not sit across with. You know, across from meaning like face to face. We don't say across with, but we say across from. So D is the best answer. Okay. So he was sitting across from a woman, blah, blah, blah. So across from here meaning face to face. We don't say across with. All right, let's move to number 12. Okay. He says here, woman who was composing music in pink tinted glasses in a notebook. In a notebook. The best placement for the underlined portion would be where it is now, all right, after the word woman, or after the word was, or after the word composing. So where should we put in pink tinted glasses? So she was wearing glasses. The woman he was sitting across from was wearing glasses. So this is describing the woman. So it should be right after the word woman. A woman in pink tinted glasses who was composing music. We shouldn't put it anywhere else because here is it's about adjective, noun, reference. Adjective, noun. What is this adjective referring to? What is this adjective describing? Is it describing the woman? Is it describing the music? Is it describing was? Okay, or is it sorry? Is it describing also the composing? So pink tinted glasses does not or and cannot describe composing, and also it cannot describe the music. So the best place for that would be after woman, and so G is the best answer. So be careful about pronoun antecedent reference. Also be careful about adjective noun reference. You should be able to identify which adjective or modifier identifies. Okay, otherwise it would be dangling. If you cannot identify a noun in the sentence uh, that this adjective modifies, then we call it a dangling modifier, and so the sentence needs to be rewritten or adjusted or corrected. All right, so let's move to number 13. Here he says, she's written, and yeah, she tapped her foot as she reviewed what she's written or she'd written, and then stopped tabbing and jotted more notes as the train hurtled along. As the train hurtled along. Okay, so the question here says, which choice most effectively emphasizes the rapid speed of the train? So we need to choose a word that reflects or emphasizes the rapid speed of the train. So should we say hurtle along as it is, no change, or continued on its way, moved on down to the tracks, or proceeded toward? So hurtle on is the best choice. It means to go really fast, to hurtle along. Hurtle along meaning go really fast. So the best choice is A. A here is the best choice. Moving on to another question. Okay, so here, if the writer were to delete the preceding sentence, what is the preceding sentence? Strangers smiled and took pains not to crush the flowers even when the train jerked to a halt. Okay, so if we were to delete this sentence, um, uh, what would the paragraph primarily lose? Provides physical, a statement that provides physical description of people on the subway or supports the opening sentence of the essay, provides evidence that people can be friendly, or gives an explanation for a narrator's action. So if people take pains and be careful not to crush flowers and spoil the flowers, even if the train is, moving and jerking them here to either side or coming to a stop, this means these people are friendly. So I would say H is the best answer, provides evidence that people can be friendly on the subway train. All right, moving on to the last question here. Uh, what does he say? Suppose the writer had intended to write a brief essay persuading readers that the subway system in New York City's most is the most economical means of public transportation. Would this essay fulfill the writer's goal? Yes, yes, because the essay supplies evidence for the large number of people using the subways. Yes, because the essay describes people who are able to give the needy because they have extra money. No, because the essay focuses on the kinds of people riding the subways, not how inexpensive the subway are to ride. Yes, I think this would be the best answer. We're talking about the different people that ride the subway. Even in the opening paragraph of the essay, she was saying, I don't know, I like to ride on the subway in New York because I don't know what or who are the people or what kinds of people I will meet. Probably I will meet Buddhist priests. Probably I would meet people who work on the stop exchange. Probably I would meet blah, blah, blah. And then throughout the essay, she tells us about the different people that she meets, like the woman who was composing music, the other people who are doing this, that, or the other thing. So she's preoccupied, or the writer is preoccupied with what kind of people are writing, not how inexpensive or expensive the subway system is in New York. So the best choice would be in C. My advice to people who are taking the ACT test, whether in February or in April, is to uh, read the sentence carefully and quickly at the same time. And if it makes sense without any change, so then no change is the best answer. If it makes sense without any punctuation needed, then that choice without any punctuation is the best answer. If you have more than one choice with one word being repeated in different expressions, then choose the shortest one if it makes sense. Go for the shortest answer if it makes sense. So these are, general tips that I think that already you know, but we keep repeating these things over and over because you might just make a simple mistake and lose some marks over something you should not actually uh, lose a mark on. Okay, so good luck to everyone and keep answering different test formats or different test models, before the actual test. This is the only guarantee that you would actually do well on your ACT test. Good luck for everyone. I'll see you in the next one.